Hi everybody, this is Kevin, and welcome back to another manga review. And today we're going to be taking a look at Fairy Tail with volume 38 from Hiro Mashima, which is the continuation of the Grand Magic Games. And, this arc has been awesome, man. I was told in the comments that this arc was one of the best, and it's not disappointing. A lot of great action scenes, a lot of great plot developments, particularly about, the time travel now that we learned about in the last volume with future Lucy. And it just gets better and better. So many great moments, particularly the battle with Urza versus Kagura and Minerva, where we learned that Simon was actually Kagura's brother, and of course refer back to early volumes of the manga, back to the Tower of Heaven arc when Jalal killed Simon, and that's why Kagura was out for revenge to kill Jalal. But amidst the battle against Urza, learned that Jalal really wasn't a bad person, was just being controlled by evil forces, and sort of saw the error in her ways and acknowledged that Urza saved her life way back when, because she did. Urza was the one that protected Kagura. And, we learned about future Lucy, who traveled from the past, only a few days in the past, to save Natsu and the gang from impending doom, because 10,000 dragons are ready to storm the castle and, wipe out the human race. So lots of great stuff. And it ended on a cliffhanger with Rogue's shadow appearing to talk to Rogue, saying to kill Gajiel, and all sorts of crazy stuff. So let's just appreciate this great cover here of Team Fairy Tail. We got Loxus, Gajiel, Urza, Juvia, and Gray, and get right to it. So there's Natsu protecting future Lucy. And, Arcadios, as he was listening, and we learn more in this volume about that, but as he was listening to future Lucy's tale about what happens in the future Lucy said she had no plan to defeat the dragon. She just had to go back to the past to warn her friends about impending doom. Whereas Arcadios had heard the princess talking about, using Eclipse Project 2, which would be to use the Eclipse as a weapon, as an Etherion cannon, to attack the dragons, which she learned from her friend from the future. So we do know that there's another person from the future, perhaps an evil person, which, we get confirmation in this volume. So as they're trying to escape the dungeon in the castle, they're being ambushed by, more soldiers, and, Loki and Natsu are saving the day, and just all sorts of crazy stuff. And then it cuts back over here to the Shadow, and Gajiel's like, what the hell are you doing? Rogue, talking to yourself? And it's the Shadow, kill Gajiel, that is my destiny. And the Shadow appears to overtake Rogue and enhance his powers. And there he is. So he's just beating the hell out of Gajiel now. Just, taking complete control in this match. And yeah, you saw in the last volume too that Gajiel had a pep talk with Rogue, saying that, what makes me strong is the fact that I have friends, or comrades, as Rogue called them. And, your comrade is that frog over there, which we know Frosh isn't a frog. He's an Exceed, but he's wearing like a frog costume. And Frosh was so happy, he was crying, oh, yay, Rogue, you're my best friend. And now you see, he's crying, no, what's wrong with him? And you see, he has all this evil, these black markings on him now, being overtaken by the Shadow. And Mavis senses this magical energy, which is similar to that Jalal, Altair, and Merity were sensing for the past 7 years at the Grand Magic Games. And you see, it's it's coming from the city. And I mentioned in the last volume that they're kind of just standing around, pontificating about what's going on, oh, what are we going to do? But they can't really make their moves because, they're fugitives. they're good guys, but they're on the run because they're seen as bad guys. So anyway, they're battling all the soldiers. The soldiers aren't really doing too much. And, they dispatch them pretty quickly. And until one of them finally uses a magic blast, because they're just using physical attacks. One of them uses a magical blast. And what does Natsu say? He says, you want to take on a pro with that kind of magic? Just mocking how weak their magic is. So Gajiel's getting his ass kicked by this evil version of Rogue. You see his face right there, blood coming out of his mouth, gasping for air. And amongst all this, Gajiel... Oh, shit, I'm going too fast. Gajiel, what he does is... He mentions the fact that, how Natsu has the lightning magic too, because Loxus gave him some of his power so he can be a fire lightning dragon. Well, Gajiel's I'm going to try the same thing that Salamander does. It's got to work. And he starts sucking up the shadows around Rogue, and you see his teeth and his tongue, and he turns into an Iron Shadow Dragon. Look at this dude. Look how badass he looks, man. I love it, man. I love it. So Gajiel's got a new power himself. And, you know, he has to compete because he's sort of like the Vegeta to Goku in the case of Natsu and Gajiel. You know what I mean? He's always one step behind Natsu. So he's getting his power up and ready to fight Rogue now. And, of course, using the two powers together, he's able to combine them and do quite well. So you gotta love this too. He's doing the Iron Shadow Dragon roar. Look at this, man. Whoa. So that knocks the evil shadow right out of Rogue and also earns a point for Fairy Tail. And look at the announcers, man. Look, they got like the booba eyes. Like, what is going on? How are these people so strong? I love that. You can use that as like a good reaction image for stuff. Oh my god, that's awesome. So then Frosh shows up and is like, no, leave Rogue alone. He could die. Stop it. And Gaji's like, well, the match is over. I'm not going to kill the kid. I just got to defeat him. So Natsu, Loki, and Wendy are fighting off the troops. And then all of a sudden, the Hungry Wolf Knights show up again. And it's like, oh, you stubborn bastards. What are you doing back here? And then we see Arcadios dons this armor. Like, what a badass he is now. With his helmet and everything. He's ready for battle. And he's like, where's the princess? I must find her at once. And this is where they reveal that, there's two people from the future. And because he says, those were not the tears of someone telling a lie. So who is the liar? The princess herself? So he's making his way to the princess, cutting to everyone on the battlefield, pondering what the hell they're going to do. And I love this scene, too, of Rogue and Frosh and Sting. What is Sting doing, man? He's just sitting there. Like, he hasn't even made his move yet. He's just waiting for the perfect time to strike, I suppose. And yeah, Urza, after her fight with Kagura, getting her ass kicked, and now Minerva just coming in there to, finish her off. So we have Gray and Juvia teaming up against Sheria and Leon. And, they're not really working too good together. Gray finds that Leon and Sheria are kind of bickering with each other. And Gray's like, all right, come on, Juvia, we got to work together as a team. And then we have the three-way here with Loxus, Olga, and Jorah. And Jorah is one of the Wizard Saints. I think they said that he's like the 5th strongest wizard in the whole universe of this series. So he's pretty damn powerful. And he just goes in there and one-shots Olga. I mean, holy shit, man. And again, with the booba expression, what is going on? Ah! And Jorah says, if I remember correctly, during your battle on the first day, you made a point of finishing the battle in one attack. So that's what he does. God damn. So Loxus is getting ready. And this is the woman from Lamia Scale who says, Jorah is the 5th strongest wizard because the 4 strongest wizards are the 4 emperors of Ishgal. And it shows silhouettes of them in the distance. So I'm sure I'll be meeting them at some point. And got this great standoff. Just 2 guys facing off. I like that. I mean, Loxus is pretty strong himself, too. Remember, he took down all 5 members of Raventail at once during that match. But Jorah is just slapping him around. And Loxus continues to get up. And look at that right there. That'll make sense in a bit. Just pay attention to that. So the 2 of them are going at it. And just, destroying the whole city around them. I mean, holy shit. It's crazy. And Mavis concedes the fact that, I don't know, man. I don't know if Loxus is going to win this one. And we get this great quote right here with Loxus. Natsu, what is it he always says at a time like this? I'm all fired up. I love it, man. So everyone's on their last legs here. Urza still trying to get up, and she says, how dare you do that to Kagura, to Miliana? You've made me angry. Oh, and also Lucy. How dare you do that to Lucy? To all my friends, you've hurt them all. I can't tolerate this. So she's swiping away, but still, Minerva is still much more powerful until Urza uses her technique here, second origin release. And if you remember, because 7 years, would go back many, many volumes after the series Island, 7 years passed, and then they had that whole thing where they're in the celestial spirit world where they did their training, and then they ran into Ultir, who gave them their second origin ability, and most of our heroes used them already, but apparently Urza is just now using it. So, just showing how OP she is, and she transforms into the Nakagami armor. God damn. Look at her face, too. She means business. She's like, I'm not going to tolerate this nonsense anymore. You're going down, Minerva. So, Gray, with Juvia, is like, come on, Juvia. And he grabs her. Their lack of teamwork is their weak point. So we have to do better at combining our powers. Gray-sama. We'll hit them with all the magic we have. Yes! Look at Juvia's face. She loves it. Be not afraid, young ones. So, Loxus using his power. He's using the Roaring Thunder attack. Narumi Kazushi. And he defeats Jorah. Can you believe it? And I love this right here. This has to be even better because this is the color page. Teaming up. And Leon's like, all right, Sherry, you got to heal me so I can withstand this attack. And Sherry's just looking at it like, oh, they're so lovely. How beautiful. Here's a great drawing. This is actually the cover art for box set number 4. But Sherry can't move because she's like, oh, the two of them are just so cute together. And they use their two ultimate techniques, Water Nebula, Ice Geyser, and defeat the two of them as they're both looking at each other. You know, Juvia's blushing and whatnot, and still holding Gray's hand. How long are you going to keep holding on? All my life. Scary. And then Obama-sama here, who's the master of Lamia Scale, is just freaking out because, you know, Jorah, Sheria, and Leon all got eliminated within minutes, so she's freaking out. Look at her. But Urza, she's not taking any more shit, so she's here to defeat Minerva once and for all. You'll receive retribution! Nakagami Asterism! And defeats Minerva. So look at that, man. So Lamia Scale's been eliminated, and Minerva also eliminated from Sabretooth. Look at all the points, though, with Fairy Tail, and they're like, oh, Fairy Tail's won! They've won, huh? But they're counting all the points. And it turns out that, yes, Sting is still in it. There's still 5 members of Fairy Tail, but Sting's still in it. And if they do all the math, he defeats them all. He will defeat Fairy Tail. But everyone in Fairy Tail is weak as hell now. I mean, you saw Urza's battle. You saw Gajiel, Gray and Juvia, and Loxus. I mean, they're all pretty weak right now. So Sting puts up the Sabretooth sign to lure them to him, and they all start walking toward him. And you see how beat up they all are, you know, like, look at them all battered and bruised. I mean, how the hell is it? Urza took the brunt of it all. I mean, you know, and I can understand Loxus and Gaji, but Gray and Juvia, I mean, who did Juvia even really fight? She fought Sheria. That was like nothing. Oh my God. So Sting is like, I'm going to take y'all down. I'll crush y'all at once. Because the Fairy Tail members start saying, oh, which one of us we want to take first? We'll fight you one-on-one. And Sting's like, I'll take y'all on at once. You're all pathetic and weak. I'll defeat y'all. But they all stand firm right here. Look at that. I love it. Standing firm, standing their ground, and Sting in complete shock. He's like, I got to do this for Lecter. I got to save Lecter. I can win this. And he's just trembling in fear because he sees, despite how weak they are, despite how battered and bruised they are still standing together strong for their guild. And he drops to his knees and says, I can't win. I surrender. To which Fairy Tail wins. And that insane outcome that Princess Hisui was told is coming to fruition. So, as it's over, everyone's celebrating. You know, everyone's like, oh, taking a sigh of relief. And then Miliana comes running by like, Urchan! And look at that! She has Lecter! And I told you to notice that before. Let me see if I can find it again. But there was the cover of that one chapter with Miliana. Was it this one? Hope I can find it. Let me pause this real quick. Yeah, the cover of the one chapter, you see the little ears there? Yeah, Lecter was with Miliana. So she comes running in with Lecter, and Sting's so happy to see his friend. Lecter, Sting, Lecter! Oh my God, what a great moment. The two of them hugging. Everyone's all happy. It's a beautiful thing. And then Princess Hisui's like, yep, that's what the guy... Oh, sorry. The guy already told you. But the person from the future said this would be what would happen. So the future is going to go on a path of destruction. The dragons are coming. We have to activate the eclipse. So now everyone's like celebrating Fairy Tail's win. And it shows everyone our boy Ichiya down there. And some good stuff. So yeah, they're questioning where the hell Natsu and the gang are because they went to rescue Lucy, and it's been so long, it's dark out now. Where are those guys? And of course, they're fighting the hungry wolf knights, and you know they mean business. They're just beating the ever-living hell out of them. When all of a sudden, like this shadow appears, sucking everyone into the abyss, and Lucy being completely shocked. And then Jalal is like, I sense that strange energy again. Who is it? It can't be. And he's racing toward the capital now, with Arcadios begging answers. He's like, what is the meaning of Eclipse number 2? What is going on? And what happens is Princess Hisui says, the one who warned me of the coming future was a man. And it's like, oh shit, that's right, there's 2 people from the future. What is going on? And then all of a sudden, from the shadows, comes that man from the future. And it turns out it is future Rogue. I've come back from a time that is yet to be. I am Rogue. So we got that little bit of foreshadowing too, with Rogue being consumed by a shadow. And I guess this is the dark path that he went on as he continued to be consumed by the darkness. So despite all this, Princess Hisui says she's going to open the door. And Rogue here says that we can't close the door. We have to defeat the dragons, the 10,000 dragons, and we'll do whatever it takes. And the person that's going to close the door is you, Lucy Hartfilia. And he's ready to fire a blast at Lucy right there, in complete shock, when the future Lucy goes in the way of our Lucy and takes the hit of his sword right there. You know, blood gushing out of her mouth. Oh, Lucy. And then he's all confused. There's 2 Lucys? What is going on? And the future Lucy says, it's weird, watching myself watch me die. It's weird for me too. It's all right. People I never thought I'd see alive, and now I meet them again. Just that made me so happy. Oh, man. So sad. And then we get this moment here where this future Lucy asked our Lucy to show her hand with the guild mark, because it turns out this Lucy from the future is actually missing her arm of the guild mark. You can sort of see, you vaguely see it, but just the way that she's holding it there, that's why she's wearing this cloak, because she's missing her arm with the guild mark. That's why she's asking for it again. And this triggers a rage in Natsu, where he's thinking back to the first time he met Lucy, when she says, Natsu, look, they gave me the fairy tale mark. Look how happy she is there. And he's just completely pissed off. Look at his face, just seething with rage. Protect the future. And Lucy's screaming back at Rogue like, oh, as long as you live, you're fated to close that door. You must die. Destiny has decided everything. And then Natsu comes barreling, and nobody's going to steal Lucy's future from her. I promise you that. Look at him. Look at the rage in his eyes. The tears rolling down his eyes to protect Lucy. So he's duking out with Rogue and tells the others to go. While he holds off Rogue here, to which they do. We see Loki running with the rest of them. And meanwhile, Yukino, amongst that battle, she sort of disappeared, and Miraji went looking for her, and is like, come on, you have to help us. Yukino's like, everywhere I go, I bring bad luck. So, just an incredible chain of events that have gone down here. And the princess talking about how they got to open the Eclipse Gate, and they already have the ability to do it, because, when Lucy and Yukino were in the dungeon, they stole the celestial keys, so she used the keys to sort of initiate it. But they need them again to do one more incantation to open it. And this Lucy, hearing future Rogue, is like, all right, well, I'm not going to close that door, and I'll help you open the door to defeat the dragons. And, the king shows up, and he's basically talking about the Eclipse plan, how they got to defeat all the dragons. And then everyone else is talking, because there's like 10,000 dragons. It's like, holy shit, we couldn't even defeat Acnologia. That was one dragon. What are we going to do against 10,000? So the king says, I'm requesting the help of all the guilds here to help out. And everyone's like, yeah, we'll help you. And if you look close enough, like, you see everybody here. You got Sabretooth down there. You got Lady Scale. I guess Kagura's all healed. You got Lamia Scale, that's Mermaid Heel, Blue Pegasus, Fairy Tail, the whole 9 yards. And then if you look close enough, up top there, you see Haru and Ellie. And then I think those two are from Rave Master too. I never read Rave Master. But yeah, I love that. You see Haru and Ellie. So isn't that so cool? They're going to fight in the battle too. I wonder if there's like Easter eggs of them fighting in these scenes. I did notice that there because I was looking for all the characters. I was sure there would be Easter eggs. And I found them. So, you know, everyone's like, yeah, we're going to fight all the guilds united. Ichiya has Nichiya here. You know, everyone's ready to fight. Sabretooth are now rejuvenated as good guys. And it's a beautiful thing. And then we get this here of Jalal going to Dorenbolt and Lahar saying, I have a favor to ask. Wait till you see what that favor is. So Natsu, it ends with Natsu, of course, fighting Rogue and Lucy opening the door. The door is opening. And I think the reason why there's that Rave Master Easter egg is because Mashra mentions that in the Japanese release of volume 39, in this volume right here, right? This is 38, the next volume, volume 39, there's an OVA, which is the Fairy Tail Rave Master OVA. And he's like, oh, it's so cool to see Ellie and Haru and friends back in anime. Because the problem with that anime is it only went like 50 episodes and got canceled halfway through. But, oh yeah, so here's the announcers doing their award ceremony. So we have Urza as the MVP. The worst match was Toby versus that guy from Raventail. Who was the sexiest? They're thinking Jenny, Lucy, or Kagura. The sexiest is Jenny. The most tenacious is Lucy, and the coolest is Kagura. For the sexiest, I don't know, man. I like Lucy the best, but I mean, we can't deny Jenny being pretty hot. But anyway. Oh, and also people were asking in the Q&A back here, like, how long is this going to be? Because Rave Master ended at 35 volumes, and this is 38, and he says, you know, there's still another big arc after this. Really, there's 2 big arcs after this. And this series ended up going 63 volumes, so I loved it. This was so much good stuff. I loved seeing Gajo in his Shadow Iron Dragon form. That was pretty badass. I love the scene with Loxus saying, what does Natsu say in a situation like this? I'm all fired up. I love this too, of Gray and Juvia teaming up to do their ultimate move. And then, just Natsu's rage, man. This scene here really got me. Like, with thinking back to Lucy's cute smile and her guild emblem, and Natsu just completely enraged going at it, fighting Rogue. So, lots of good stuff. I think there's only 2 more volumes left in this arc, so it's winding down, guys. Let me know what you thought in the comments down below, and stay tuned for more videos coming soon. Have a great day.